Okay, great. Well, it looks as though we're live streaming onto LinkedIn Live. So welcome to everyone who's joining us on LinkedIn. Welcome also to everyone who's joining us on the Zoom platform that we're using here today. And really excited to welcome you to this introduction of Spacestor to the Florida market. So my name's Alex Harvey. I'm VP of Sales here with Spacestor, and really excited to be sharing with you and presenting with our partner in Florida, Dino and Associates, introducing Spacestor really to the market. So what I'd like to do today, my objective is to give you a quick introduction to Spacestor and who we are, talk you through some of the trends that we see happening in the workplace as a result of COVID, so the post-COVID workplace era, what do we see those trends, what trends do we see emerging, and how do we see those impacting on the workplaces you design? And then finally, as a bit of a wrap up on a call to action, Dino will certainly be keen to meet with anyone in the Florida marketplace who we can support on projects and that kind of thing. But before we dive into the detail of the presentation, Dino, I'll turn over to you. You can give us a quick introduction to yourself and your company.
Thank you, Alex. Good morning, everyone. As Alex mentioned, my name is Dino. I'm the owner of Dino and Associates, and we've been collaborating with architects, interior designers, contract dealers since 2004. We represent a wide range of products, and we cover most every market, from hospitality to corporate interiors. And we are so excited to be partnered up with Spacestor, bringing that West Coast vibe to the East Coast. And we thank you for joining us today, Alex.
That's great. Thanks, Dino. Appreciate it. So I guess there was a few things we wanted to do. As I said, we're going to be looking at introducing you to some of the products you will see on one of the other webcams that we're using here today. We're actually live in the Spacestor London Design Centre. So we're going to have a quick walk through some of those products that we see in the post-COVID workplace. But before we do that, I wanted to introduce Spacestor to you, because I don't know whether everyone on the call has met Spacestor or knows who Spacestor are. So Spacestor are the creators of workplace furniture that's a blend of California cool and London design. So Dino referenced the West Coast vibe that Spacestor are hoping to bring to the Florida market. But those two elements, the California cool and the London design, really reference both the influences that have made Spacestor the company that we are today, and really the background and heritage of us as an organization. So the original roots of Spacestor is actually here in London, in the UK design market, creating modular workplace furniture for the clients that we work with. And that's been, we've been here in the UK for manufacturing furniture for nearly 30 years now. Now, more recently, in 2012, Spacestor opened our first US design center, which was in California, in Los Angeles. And that was a huge movement forward, a huge step for Spacestor, and really represented a big shift in who we are as an organization, and just being in touch with the influences that have now made us the company we are today. So you might ask, well, why California? Why did you take that step to come from the UK into the US market in the first place? And great question, because the question have really come to us from our clients. What we've found is that with many of our clients, and kind of too many times for it to be coincidental, we were finding that our clients were saying, we want an office like Google, or something to that effect, something like that. And as I say, it was happening too often for it to be a coincidence. So we actually ended up taking a big step in opening the design center in California, which allowed us to work with some of those tech companies, particularly in Silicon Valley, the Googles and Facebooks and Apples and LinkedIns of this world. But also, over the last 8 years, Spacestor has now developed into a national provider of furniture across the whole of the US. We've got rep coverage, west to east coast. And we've also got production facilities both on the West Coast in Los Angeles, as well as on the East Coast in Philadelphia. And of course, as well as our flagship design center in New York on the East Coast as well. So a lot's happened in those 8 years, but we've been really privileged to work with many clients during that period. And what we've really found is the the focus that the clients that we work with have on their workplace as a way to attract and retain the best talent within the organization, and bringing it kind of up to date with the post-COVID era. What we're also seeing is the workplace as a way to attract your people back to the office, because there are things that you can do in the office or in the workplace that you can't really do effectively in any other location. So what we've seen with many of our clients is a development into some kind of hybrid working type situation, where you're moving from, being in the office 5 days a week as the default, to maybe working from home a few days, working from the office a few days, maybe working from some other location, whether it's a co-working space or somewhere else. But kind of picking where you work to suit the tasks that you've got in mind doing on that day. And what we've seen with many of our clients is they're trying to understand, well, what are those things that can be done best or better than anywhere else physically in the office? What are the other tasks and activities? And then how do we create the workplace that best allows those activities to happen and for people to be ultimately the most productive and effective that they can be? So that kind of gives you a quick overview of who Spacestor are. And as I say, keen to dive into the detail of some of the products that we're seeing represented in those post-COVID workplace projects that we're involved with, and see whether they can be useful for you in the projects you're involved with as well. So the first product I wanted to dive into was, actually I'm sitting inside it. So this is our Residence Connect. And the Residence Connect is designed first and foremost as a video booth, so to provide the ultimate user experience for a video call type environment. So I'll step outside in a second, but you can see I'm actually in the booth. I'm using the built-in monitor, which is fully kitted with webcam, with speakers, with everything that I need to have a video meeting. And you'll also see inside this pod, and hopefully you can see this, but I've actually got adjustable lighting. So you can see I'm dimming the lighting down and back up again. And just look at the impact on my facial expression, the visual representation you get of my face as I change that lighting. This is a key focus, or has been a key focus in the development of this product, to make sure that every user gets the most digitally equitable video experience, so the best digital representation. And the lighting is particularly important when we're looking at users with the widest possible spectrum of skin tones, so that we actually get the best possible visual representation of everybody. So one of the key things that was really fundamental to the design of this product was that equitability and inclusivity of access. We also have a wheelchair accessible version of the same product, so that gives you again the ability for the most possible people to have this great video experience. And then as well as that, we also have the sorry, my video's just gone off. Better. Okay, yeah, we also have the impact of both the fabrics and materials on the video experience. So you'll notice that we've got this particular color behind me, which gives, again, the best possible video experience, as well as the environment itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mute in here a second and going to shift to outside the pod, where you will see the kind of overall product, and also some of the features that we've found are really important in creating that best possible video experience. So just hold fire 2 seconds and I'll be right back with you. Okay, well, hopefully you can. Okay, just do a quick sound check on that. Are you hearing me okay, Dino? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Perfect. So hopefully you can see the Spacestor Residence Connect. So you'll see the product that this was what I was sitting inside previously. So you can see a few things, hopefully, from your vantage point. So we've got this, obviously, this acoustic enclosure, so that you're able to have, acoustically private meeting rooms or meetings with maybe a client, maybe a colleague, maybe having
some one-to-one peer review with somebody or something like that. So you've got the ability to have those private conversations, but also the other benefit of an acoustic environment like this is that it removes distractions from the open plan space. What we've seen with a lot of clients now is the growing understanding that video meetings are here to stay. Whether you love them or hate them, they're here to stay. They're part of how we work, partly because of COVID, but actually that's a trend that's been growing long before COVID, but they are very much part of how we work. And with the hybrid working that we're seeing with many of our clients, actually we're expecting that the number of video meetings that we're having is going to continue to be on the increase, because if all of the team are in the office, you're going to have a face-to-face meeting. But actually what's going to happen is that some of the team will be in other locations, so there will be some kind of digital meeting involvement. So as I say, the video meetings are here to stay. And what we're seeing is that joining a video meeting in the open plan with noise cancelling headphones actually is hugely distracting to all the other people who are working around you. So we've really designed this product to help bring the workplace to today up to speed with providing the environments that people can have those video meetings without disturbing all the other workers, without creating a lot of distraction and loss of productivity that comes with that, as well as I say, having those private conversations. And what you'll see with this product, as I say, designed specifically for video conversations, what you'll see is that I'm actually sitting inside here on an ergonomic task chair. So hopefully you can see that I'm sitting on an ergonomic task chair. And this product being designed for video, as opposed to many of the other products you might have seen out there, the other modular video booth type products, or the modular phone booth type products, is they're often designed for phone conversations first. And what we mean by that is that typically you're either kind of standing up working at a phone shelf, or maybe sitting on a stool or a perch, but which is fine for a phone conversation. That works really well if you're in there for 20, 30, maybe 40 minutes. But if you're on a video call, maybe for half an hour, 2 hours, sometimes back-to-back video meetings, you really want to be working on a proper environment where your body is actually supported by an ergonomic task chair. So that was a really important part of creating the best user experience. And then hopefully you can also see, again, one of the key things that we designed into this product around user experience was the sit to stand desk. So you can probably see that actually lifting and lowering. So that's, again, designed to create the right ergonomics for every individual user. So not only can I adjust the desk itself, and again, really important for the wheelchair accessible version, that we can actually drop that down to a 27 inches from the floor height, but I can also independently adjust the monitor or the screen. So hopefully, again, you can see that moving up and down. So I can frame myself correctly within that video window, again, for the best video experience. So we talked about the lighting, talked about the user experience, and another important part of that is the built-in ventilation. So this product is designed as a plug and play type solution. So for projects in the US, particularly on the West Coast, we have built-in seismic anchoring, but aside of that, there's no need for this to be fixed to the fabric of the building in any way. So it's not fixed into the floor, and it could sit on any existing floor surfaces, whether it's a carpet, a hard floor, whether it's a tile or a stone or a timber floor like we have here. So you've got the ability to add this as a plug and play solution to an existing workplace, and all we need is one power outlet, unless you have any particular video equipment that needs data. The product itself doesn't need data. So you'll also notice that we've actually got a level threshold. So with many of these video type products, you actually have a step up of some sort into the product, but we've created this with a level threshold, so that you don't have that. And then the other aspects of this product, which I guess are really important, is firstly that it's been designed with sustainability in mind. So we've worked really hard to remove the red listed materials. So this is actually a red listed compliant product. It's also designed so that, it's also certified to UL 962. So the only video and the only modular booth that we know of that's certified to that UL rating in the US. So again, that removes some of the uncertainty or doubt around installing this into an existing workplace or into a new project. So that's the Residents Connect, and as I say, something we see as highly relevant to the post-COVID workplace. And then just shifting on rapidly to a couple of other products that we also see as very relevant in the post-COVID workplace. So what you'll see here, just dipping the camera up and down so you get a view, is some of the Spacestor hot locker system. So again, bringing lockers up to date to the current time, because of course lockers are nothing new. Personal storage has been part of the workplace for many years now. But what we're seeing is, again, with that hybrid working strategy in mind, is that many clients are saying, you're kind of working from home a few days, you're working from the office a few days, which means you don't actually own a desk. So they're going to more of a non-assigned or an agile desk working type situation. So you don't own a desk, but unless your expectation is for your staff to kind of take everything home with them at the end of the day, so everything you're working on, all the files and folders, maybe the power charging or cables and that kind of thing that you use on a day-to-day basis, even the keyboard and mouse that you use. So unless your expectation is everyone's taking all that home with them at the end of each day, what we're finding with many clients is that the personal storage, the locker, becomes the pivot point, so that if you're working from home a few days, working from the office a few days, this is where you can leave your stuff securely stored. And the other side of it is, when you're coming into the office, often people will have like a cycle helmet, maybe a gym bag, so they worked out on the way into the office, maybe some shopping that you bought or something like that. So again, it becomes the kind of pivot point so that you can work as you need to when you're in the office, and anything you need to be stored securely can be stored in that way. So what you'll find with the Spacestor locker systems is there's a few different aspects to it. But first of all, there's a huge amount of customization. So you can customize the width, the height, and the depth of each individual of the locker solution. So you can create the right size to support how you're working, how your team works. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is aesthetically, we've got a lot of choice and options to create an aesthetic that blends in with the workplace or the workplace that you're designing. And then the third key point really is the different access solutions, right the way from the most traditional, most cost-effective method is using a simple key, which, as I say, is popular with many of our clients. But also what we're seeing is a growing expectation of something a little bit more technologically advanced, and something that just removes the hassle of managing the keys on a day-to-day basis. So this particular solution has an RFID swipe card lock. So what you're actually doing is using the RFID badge or employee badge that you would use to come into the office in the morning. You're using that to actually access the lockers. So we can actually eliminate keys altogether. It means that if somebody forgets their RFID badge, they probably can't get into the office in the first place, but if they did, the security team would obviously recreate that badge, and it takes on the ID of that individual and takes on all of their access credentials, which would mean they could access the locker that they already have. So that's another really important factor. And it also means that in that hybrid working environment, if you've got a non-assigned desk, you don't necessarily need to have an assigned locker either. You could just use a locker for the times that you're in the office. So in the London Design Centre, I'm here kind of 1 or 2 days, some weeks, no days, some weeks. So I can actually come in with my RFID badge, use a locker for the day, securely store all my stuff. But then when I clean out, that's actually available for somebody else to come and use. So it means that if there's a possibility of 1,000 staff being in your building, from one end of the week to the next, but actually on site, you've only got 500 or 600 at any time, you don't need to necessarily install 1,000 lockers. And again, other technological solutions we're seeing with some of our clients are things like a key code type, so a punch code type lock, or using an app on your smartphone. So the ability to kind of use your smartphone to open and access the lockers. And then with some of those technology-based solutions, whether they're battery operated or wired, there's also the opportunity for having software which then can capture the access data in real time. So we can actually see, we've got 100 lockers, 50% of them are in use at the moment, 50% are available. Or there's an individual locker there on the 3rd floor that's been left locked for 3 months. And then we can draw down and say, well, why was that? Was it because an employee left the organization and forgot to unlock their locker and make it available to somebody else? Was it because a visitor maybe came into the day? So again, lots and lots of opportunity that brings to use the data or to access the data in real time, so we can make good decisions, good database decisions around the future design of the workplace. And then continuing with some of the other products that we're seeing, as kind of really, really popular post-COVID. So again, I'll just dip the camera up and down a bit. So this is the Spacestor railway carriage. So the railway carriage is really designed as first and foremost, as a plug and play collaboration hotspot. So where you've got often what you find in a workplace environment, and our research has shown this as well as a lot of other workplace research that we've looked at, is that the average meeting is usually between 3 or 4 people. So yes, you sometimes get the 10, 12, 15 person meeting. Yes, you sometimes get the smaller meetings with just 1 or 2 people, but actually on average it's between 3 or 4 people. And this environment is a great touchdown point for those spontaneous collaboration moments where you don't need to book a meeting room. You don't need to have a private conversation. You don't have to shut the door. And one of the great advantages of something like this as a modular product is that you can drop it in and among the task working spaces. It doesn't have to be a meeting room at the end of the corridor. It doesn't have to be a meeting room on a different floor. And also it's future flexible. It's a modular piece. You can actually dismantle, reconfigure, reuse, maybe take it from one floor to the next, maybe even move it to a new building when you relocate. So you could actually bring your meeting rooms with you. So that's another advantage of the modularity of the product. And what we've seen, particularly in the post-COVID environment, is with many clients, they're actually using this almost as an individual working space for now, for the short term. So this is a great space if I wanted to be in the office for a day, maybe I've come in for a meeting. If I wanted to just touch down somewhere and just catch up on my emails, maybe work on some projects or tasks or whatever activities I might be doing. So it becomes an individual working space, but the expectation is that in the not too distant future, hopefully, we'll be comfortable sitting down face-to-face, collaborating, working closely with our team around us. Everyone will be vaccinated, so we can then convert it back or use it back into its original use, which was for those collaboration type activities. And then one of the things with this railway carriage product is, again, as designed as plug and play, we've got a single power outlet requirement, which then gives us laptop charging, USB charging, inbuilt lighting and that kind of thing. But also we thought about the space around the railway carriage. So for example, this product could have on the outside, on the reverse of this back, on the outside of this back panel, we could actually have a whiteboard, maybe for a scrum space type design or something like that. So not only is collaboration happening internally, but we can also create other collaboration spaces around the perimeter as well. So that's the Spacestor railway carriage. And then just the final product we're moving on to today is the portals from Spacestor. So I'll just dip in here. So you'll see, again, very similar look and feel, very similar design language to the railway carriage, but this is designed for that individual single person working that we spoke about earlier. So bring it up to drop the type down here, bring it up to date with the post-COVID working. And what we're seeing with many of our clients is that with that hybrid working situation we discussed earlier, is that when you're coming into the office in the future, it's going to be for a purpose. So it might be for a meeting, it might be for a brainstorm with your team. There'll be usually some specific purpose or event that you've actually come into the office for. But what you often find is that you won't necessarily be in that meeting for the whole day. You might be in that meeting for a few hours, but as I say, the in-between times, the times when you're not in that event or in that collaboration or brainstorm, whatever it is you happen to be doing, that's when you need somewhere to touch down and work. And whether that's a non-assigned desk, like we spoke about earlier, or something like this, which gives you a little bit more privacy. It gives you the ability to kind of, again, comfortably work using a ergonomic task chair, but it gives you a little bit more privacy, but staying connected to the buzz of the open plan space. And this particular model has the sit to stand table, so electrically operated sit to stand table. So I can come in here with my laptop, work comfortably on this task chair if I want to. I can also push the task chair out of the way, just neatly push that to one side, and I can adjust the sit to stand table up to standing height. So if I was wanting to keep my body moving, if I was wanting to just move around a bit, I can actually work standing up on my laptop and actually take some phone calls and do what I need to. So fairly fast paced, but hopefully that's given you an insight to Spacestor and some of the post-COVID products that we're producing. And as we started off with, really excited to be partnering with Dino in the Florida market. Dino, do you want to give us a quick wrap up and call to action for everyone on the call if they wanted to reach out to you, how they can get hold of you and take forward the conversation?
Yeah, thank you, Alex. I'd like to conclude by sharing, as you saw, Spacestor offers you a wide range of products and solutions. So when you're thinking Spacestor, you don't only need to think about corporate interiors. Spacestor's wide range of products I see would have a great fit in hospitality, mixed use, multifamily. So think of Spacestor as a total solution provider for you. And when you think of Dino and Associates, we will be there to guide you through the details such as pricing, dealer referrals, project reviews, helping you out with your layouts. So think of us, reach out to Dino and Associates. We'd be happy to assist you in any way we can when it comes to Spacestor. Alex?
Great, good. Thanks, Dino. Very comprehensive wrap up. And that's the kind of the next step then. So if somebody needs to get hold of you, they can find you via your website or they can email you, I'm guessing. So we can then have a more in-depth product conversation. We can look at sampling if we need to. And of course, we can look at the detail of products. And the other thing, actually, just before we wrap up and close, if anyone in your team has missed today's presentation, we've got another one running later on this morning. We've got another 2 or 3 presentations tomorrow and also on Friday, and some virtual tours of our New York Design Centre. So feel free to share the word with your team, with your colleagues, with anyone who thinks should join us and listen into one of these presentations. So with that, brings us to the close. Thanks very much for joining us today. My name's Alex Harvey, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thanks and goodbye.